All right, so once again, warm-up number 11. Let's try this one more time. We got simplify for number 1 and 2. And it reads parentheses 3y plus 4x squared plus y minus 2, close parentheses, open parentheses, 5x squared y plus 1 minus y, close parentheses. Number 2, x squared plus 5x plus 6, close parentheses, minus, open parentheses, negative 3x squared plus 6x minus 1. Number 3, it says solve, negative 25 greater than or equal to negative 5x plus 15 greater than negative 35. And number 4, it says identify the greatest common factor between 24 and 30. Go ahead and copy that, work on that. I'll give you some extra time since our system froze. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, I'll give you some time. So, should be done with numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for the sake of time, since, we had a glitch earlier, I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to the last problem. Greatest common factors. What is the greatest number that divides both numbers? It's not 2. It's not 3. The correct answer is
6.
6. That is correct. Bam, Alberto, let's go. Yeah. So if 6 is the one that divides both of them and we factored it out, what's left here in 24 if we divide it by 6? We're left with what? 4. And what's left here? 5. So the GCF is 6, and the remaining factors are 4 for 24 and 5 for 30. Okay.
Do I have to show work when doing this?
For right now, no. The only thing the other day I showed you the factor tree just so that you knew where it came from, because today we're gonna get, like I said, it's gonna go a little bit faster. So I just wanted you guys to get in your noodle where it came from. Here we go. All right. With that said. Copy the asynchronous session code, JISRC. In there, you're going to find the play sheet for tonight's home play. It's on factoring polynomials. It's only 25 problems. Only. Woo! Anyways, but just do numbers 2 to 24 evens. 2 to 24 evens in tonight's home play. Which ones? 2 to 24 evens. It's going to go pretty fast. Also, with that code, guys, within the presentation, I included some slides that need to that you need to freeze or lock the toolbar, and then from there submit work. Make sure you're doing that from this point forward with the asynchronous code, because that's going to count towards your class participation. I'm sorry. Do all the slides have that little toolbar? No, I only have some slides. So make sure when you go through the presentation, slide all the way through and get to the ones that have the little toolbar at the bottom. Submit a picture of your notes. Why? Because I want to make sure you're taking notes. I know some of you are like geniuses and you don't need to take notes. Well, you do need for this class. My goodness. And the second thing, there is tutoring right after lunch, so I'll see some of you. And let's get started. I can factor polynomials. Read together. I can factor polynomials. What is our concept for today? Polynomials. And what are we doing today? We're no longer multiplying, adding, or subtracting. Today we're factoring. Do we need a Ferrier model? No, we already know what that is. What are the definitions for polynomials? Well, we already know. Monomial or somewhere different to monomials. I gave you guys examples, non-examples, hashtags. All right. When you get to that slide on Nearpod, make sure you fill it in with definition, one example, one unexample, one hashtag without using your notes. It's so you can practice definitions. All right. So look at this one. Greatest common factor, 24 and 18. Don't copy it. Look at them. What is the greatest number that can divide both numbers?
6.
What is it?
Still 6.
6. Let's see.
8.
Divide by 6, we're left with 4. Divide by 6, we're left with 3. So 6 seems to be our GCF, yes. And question, is there another factor that is in common for these two other than 1? No. So if that's it, that's it. Okay. All right, so we got this. I think we got this, yeah? All right. Let's crank it up a notch. Write those down, please. Greatest common factor of x cubed and 2x. Like I said, it's going to start increasing in rigor pretty quick. Now check this out. I'm going to write this one out so you guys can see all the portions that need to go into your thinking. And then afterwards, we don't need to write all the things out and just identify the GCF. Here it goes. As I tell my students, those of you that are getting confused with this, when in doubt, factor out. So here we go. What factors make up x cubed? Well, let me show you. X times x times x. What factors make up 2x? 2 times x. Okay. So with that said, which factors are in common? Which ones do they have in common? They both have at least
X.
one x, yes. Now, is there anything else that they have in common? No. Okay, so what's left over on this side? X squared. What's left over on this side? 2. So that means this is our GCF. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do y to the 4th and 7y to the 2nd. Find me the GCF and write below those what is left for each one. All right, let's see. If you wrote them out, you should have done y times y times y times y. This one was 7 times y times y. What did both of them have in common? 2y. So we write y squared. That's our what? GCF. What's left over on this side? Y squared. What's left over on this side? 7. Hands if you got that. Okay. All right. Let's do another one. I'm going to go to the right. How about, let's do 8x squared. And let's do 20x to the 5th. Let's do this one together. Here we go. Now, for this one, look up, guys. Look up. I don't want you to write out the x's. Now, I want your noodle to do the thinking. Here we go. Question. Look up. Look up. So if I'm not going to write these out like this, this is what I want you guys to be thinking. Look at the first example I gave you. How many x's can you imagine in your noodle are there? 3 of them. How many x's on this one? 1. So that means how many are they going to have in common? 1. That's why we write it right there. So let's think that through for this one. How many x's do you see here? 2. How about here? 5. How many do they have in common? 2. So you would write what? X squared. Is that correct? Okay. Now that we have the variables out of the way, let's focus on the numbers. What's the biggest number that divides 8 that can divide 20?
4.
4 is correct. This is our GCF. All right. So now let's find out what is left. Check this out. 8 divided by 4 leaves us with 2. Since we already factored out the x squared, we don't need to write it. There it is. What is 20 divided by 4? 5. Since we factored out x to the 2nd, what is left? How many x's? 3. So it's x cubed. How we doing? Yeah? All right, last one of those. Here it goes. I'm going to go over to this side. Let's do,
Yeah, you lagging again. You lagging.
okay. How about there? Okay. Let's do 6y to the 4th and 15y. Find me the GCF and then write whatever's left over for each expression. All right. So GCF, you should have gotten, here it goes, 3y. Hands if you got that. Yeah, and what was left over on the first term after we factored out the 3? 2y cubed. And what was left over on this one? 5. Hands if you got that. Okay. All right, so now that we have that, let's move on to funner stuff. Copy this one. Example 1, factor completely. All right, let's do this one together. Here we go. It's the same process as what we just did. The only thing, the first step is to look at this as a whole expression and check for standard form. So question, is this in standard form? Yes. Okay, so then let's check for GCF. Do they both have an x in common? Yes, so then I write x. The numbers, do they have any number that divides both numbers in common other than 1? No. So once we have our GCF from this point forward, since this is together, we're going to open up a parentheses and write whatever's left over for each term. So this, we factor out the x, so we're left with 2x. This, we factored out the x, and we're left with 3. These are known as factors. Why? Because they are multiplying. They are multiplying. How many factors do you see? One is x, and the other one is this one together. 2 factors. Are we there so far? Okay, and once again, for those of you that are getting confused, look up to the screen. I always tell my students, when in doubt, factor out. So I'm going to factor this out. Look at the first term. The first one you can write as 2 times x times x. The second term you can write as negative 3 times x. And question, now that you see it all, what do they have in common? 1x, Mr. Q. All right. So if we took out the x, what's left over here? 2x. What's left over here? Negative 3. Once again, when in doubt, factor out. Does that make it a little easier? Yeah? Yes, Mr. Q, I love these. All right, good. Let's move on. Example 1Q, copy that. 6y squared plus 18y, and it says factor completely. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. All right. So let's do this one together. Let's see. Is there a variable on each of the terms? Yes. Do they have at least one y for each term? Yes. Do they have at least 2 y's for each term? No, only one y, so I write y. Okay, next. What number, or the biggest number, divides 6 that divides 18? Yeah, 6, right? That's the biggest number that divides 6 that divides 18. So now that I have my GCF, I open parentheses. Let's see what I have left. I factored out the 6, so I'm left with y. Here, I factor out 6 out of 18. So what is 18 divided by 6? 18 divided by 6 is 3, and I factored out the y, and these are my factors. Okay? How are we doing? Okay. So what is the process that I'm trying to convey here? Step 1, check to see if in standard form, and step 2, checking for GCF. Let's do another one of these. Here we go.
Mr. Q,
Yes.
do you have to write factors? Is that part of the answer?
Not necessarily, but for right now, yes, write them out because still people don't understand that these two are factors. How many factors do I have? 1, 2 factors. Why are they factors? Because they are multiplying. Just to, for right now, at least so that it can get ingrained in your noodle. Okay. All right. Let's do another one. Copy this one. Let's do 12x to the third minus 30 x to the fifth. Let's see, I'm going to throw a little curveball. See if you catch it. What is the first thing we do? Miles.
Check to see if it's standard form.
Let's go. Man, you remind me of me in kindergarten. All right, so let's see. Is it in standard form, guys? No, so that means I need to write negative 30x to the fifth and then plus 12x cubed. Man, Miles from the corner. Let's go. Now that it's in standard form, let's start the whole process. Is there a GCF? Let's see. How many x's can you picture here? 5. How many x's over here? 3. So how many do they have in common? 3x cubed. Okay. Question. What number or what big number divides 30 that divides 12?
6.
6, okay. However, look up, guys. Whenever the first term has a negative, make sure you include that in the GCF. Alejandro, focus. So then open parentheses. Okay. So what do? We factored out the 6, so then we divide negative 30 by negative 6. That leaves us with 5. X to the fifth, we factored out x to the third. So how many do we have left? X to the second. Okay, next. This one divided by this. So what is 12 divided by negative 6? Negative 2. And we already factored out the x cubed. So these are my factors. All right, show me your fingers. I'll come to you are with these. Yeah, we got this, yeah? All right, let's move on. These are too easy, Mr. Q. All right, good. Copy this one. Example number 1, super Q reads, factor completely, a negative 3m minus 3m squared plus 3. Negative 3m minus 3m squared plus 3. And once again, we're focusing on the process right now. Let's see. All right. Step 1, everyone. Step 1 is standard form. Is it in standard form? No. We need to write from the highest to lowest degree. So that means we write negative 3m squared. That's the highest degree because it's 2. The next one is 1. So this is negative 3m. And lastly, the 0 degree is plus 3. Okay. Step 2. We need to check for what? GCF. All right. Question. What number, or by the way, is there a variable on each of the terms? No, so we don't need to worry about the variable. What number divides each of the terms? 3. However, if the first term has a negative, then we're going to divide by what? Negative 3. Okay. All right, here we go. What is negative 3 divided by negative 3? Positive 1m squared. What is negative 3m divided by negative 3? Positive 1m. And what is 3 divided by negative 3? Negative 1. These are my factors. Why? Because they are multiplying. How many factors do you see? 2. 1, 2. Show me your fingers. I'll come to your up to right there. Okay. Let's crank it up about 5 notches. Yeah. Let's go. Woo. Let's rock and roll. All right. So, yes. All right. So with that said, here we go. I'm going to label this one example super duper mega cube. Yes. Copy this. X squared plus 5x plus 6. And we're still doing what? Factoring. Okay. We're going to do this one together because this is just a review of what you used to do in Algebra 1, right? And plus in the summer, I'm pretty sure you went to my YouTube channel to refresh them before you got to Algebra 2, right? Here goes the process. Step 1, what do we check for? Everyone. Standard form. Is it in standard form? Yes, okay. Step 2, what do we check for? GCF. Is there a GCF? Let's see, not all three of them have variables. Not all of them have numbers, so there is no GCF other than one. So what do we do then, Mr. Q? So step 3, we're going to factor. Factor. Now, here it goes for those of you that were with me. Dun, 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 dun. Remember, Power Rangers? Let's go. So I draw a little device over here. I call it the Power Rangers. Some of you know it as something else. We're going to find the product for the top, addition for the bottom. So let me label this with colors. The last constant or the last term goes on top. The middle one, the coefficient, goes on the bottom. And this is how you use this device. For those of you that have never seen this before, you think of it. What numbers, and I'm talking pairs of numbers, multiply to give me 6? That's why there's got multiplication. And those same numbers, when you add them, it gives us 5. 2 and 3, that's correct. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 plus 3 is 5. That is correct. So now what we do, we're going to rewrite this. Pay attention to this part. I bring the first one down, x squared. Now look at this. Watch. I need to bring this one down, but instead of bringing it down like this, I'm going to convert it to these two. You're like, what? Yeah, 5x becomes what? Positive 2x and positive 3x. Where did I get those from? From over here. Then I bring the last term down. What is the last term? Plus 6. Is this starting to freshen your memory? Yes? All right. Next, this next step is what we know about factor by grouping. We group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. And then we ask the question, what is the GCF for the first 2 terms, everyone? Look at it. GCF is?
X.
X. Okay, if we factored out the X, what's left over for the first one? X. If we factored the X out, what's left over? 2. Bring down the plus. What is GCF for the second 2? Not variable, so it can be divided by what?
3.
3. And what do we have left here? X. And what is 6 divided by 3? 2. Okay, we're almost done. Look up. Question. What's the same here and what's the same here?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. That's going to be one factor. X plus 2. Question. Now that we factored out that, what's left over on this side? X. And what's left over on this side? Plus 3. That's my second factor. X plus 3. And these are my factors. Why? Because they are multiplying. All right, show me your fingers. How come you are with these? Yeah, 5, 4, some of you with 3s. We need to practice, some of us. But for most of us, this should be something just like a review. Is that correct? All right. Let's go to the next one. So once again, here goes the process. What was step 1? Standard form. What's step 2? GCF. And step 3, factor. Okay, now that we have the foundation of the whole thing, here it goes. Let's do one that looks like this. Factor completely, 4x squared plus 12x plus 8. This will be probably the last one of the session. Just want to make sure I get through all the components. And once again, I apologize if the video is a little bit too short today. We had technical difficulties. The students were a little bit rowdy and they froze my Zoom. Giselle, she's like, no. Okay. All right, here we go. Everyone, step one. Is it in standard form? Yes, Mr. Q. All right, standard. Make sure you label it so you can keep it in mind. Step two, GCF. Is there a variable on all three terms? No. Okay. But what is the biggest number that divides all three terms? Yeah, 4. Okay, so what's left over if we factored out the 4 here? X squared. And remember, if we factored it out, that means it can divide each of these terms. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12x divided by 4 is 3x. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right, next, I'm going to change that to green so you can remember. We need to factor. And what do we use? Dun, 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 dun. There it is. Multiplication on top, addition on the bottom. Which one goes on top? The last one always goes on top. Which one goes on the bottom? The middle coefficient. What? 2 numbers multiply to give me 2. And when you add those same 2 numbers, give us 3, 1, and 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay. So let's rewrite this factor inside. So I bring the first term down, x squared. Next, I need to bring this one down, but do I bring that 3x down? No, I need to replace it with what? These two. So this becomes positive 1x, positive 2x. Bring down the last term, plus 2. All right, let's continue factoring. Group the first 2, the second 2. What's the GCF for the first 2? X. And if we factor out an x from here, we're left with x. Factor out an x from here, we're left with 1. Okay, bring down the plus. What's the GCF for these 2? Not the variable, but could it be divided by 2? Yes. So since we factored out the 2, we're left with x. And what is 2 divided by 2? 1. Okay. Question, what's the same here and here? X plus 1. What's left over on this side after we factored out x plus 1? The x. How about over here? The 2. So this becomes x plus 2. Now check this out, guys. Look up to the screen or you're going to miss it. This one, what did we extract from the very beginning? The GCF. What was the GCF? The 4. Make sure you bring that down and include it as your factors. Let's go. So what's the only difference with this one from the previous one that we did? That you need to include the GCF that we extracted at the beginning, bring it in towards the end. Okay? Show me with your fingers, I'll come to you with these. 5 4s, 5 4s. Yeah, some of you are like, Mr. Q, these were my rice and beans. I love these. Yes, I get you. All right. So we'll stop right there, guys. Once again, take the synchronous code that I gave you at the beginning. Let me go back to that. And your asynchronous code is JISRC. Make sure you go to that. Get the play sheet. Once again, I'm going to upload today at 3. So also those of you that feel that this is maybe a little bit too fast, I want to see you guys in tutoring after lunch at 1 o'clock. Go to your Canvas, log into my class. Underneath my gift where it says Mr. Q's Tutoring Room 106 Zoom. Click on that and I'll see you guys at 1. All right, guys. Good seeing you all. Keep behaving. Keep up the good work. See you guys next week. Oh, snap. This week flew by like crazy. All right. Have a good one. Peace.